So what did you mean, Christmas tea? What is Christmas tea?
Well, Gonzo, it's got a mixture of spices in. So if you imagine Christmas, in,
I am.
breathe in, inhale. What are you smelling?
Father Christmas's boots.
Yes, I'm drinking.
Lovely. Very nice. Well, I like the mug. I'm not sure about the Christmas. Are you saying it's got spices in it?
Yeah, it's got like clove and nutmeg and
It's not tea. It's just not tea. Anyway, listen. Let's start a video. Anyway, right. Welcome, one and all. There we go. Welcome, one and all. Beckster, Beckenstein, the Beckmeister General.
Yes.
How are you?
Call that my official name. I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Right there. I'm right, 'cause I'm drinking normal tea.
Have you got milk in it?
A touch.
Yeah, I'm drinking my Christmas tea black.
It's nothing. It's not even tea. It's just a completely different drink. Do you know? So last time we did a video, right? Did you read the comments?
I did read the comments on the last video. Yeah.
It went down well. Some good comments, right?
Some very good comments.
There was one in particular which I thought was magnificent, and a gentleman said he was delighted to see a bespectacled presenter with such charm, wit, and good looks. And in all honesty, Bex, he thought you weren't bad either.
I know. Do you know what? I can't. I just can't hold a torch to you, Gonzo. I do my best. I do my best.
Well, I did be here before we launched into this. Anyway,
to dry.
It's always it takes 2 seconds to dry. Imagine if you will, you're David Moyes.
Okay.
Right. You're in your Canary Wharf apartment, probably surrounded by vegetables, because that's your part-time job. You know, mouldy fruit and vegetables. You're not allowed to get out and deliver them. What with the running of the football team and the COVID.
Carrots. Surrounded by carrots.
Surrounded. And then David Sullivan phones you up and he says, that Josh King, don't worry about it. I've got a Bananarama or something. I've got someone else for you. How do you think David? Do you believe it? By the way,
what do I believe that Sullivan wants his choice over the manager's choice? 100%. I feel like this isn't a new situation. This is something that he's keen on doing normally. So do I believe it? Yes. I think Sullivan 100% will disregard anything anyone says to him ever.
Yeah, well, okay, that's a generalisation. Do you think in this instance, because we don't know, we've all assumed, myself as much as I've probably assumed 3 times this week in videos alone. So I am the assumptuous one. That's not right, is it? But whatever I am,
it's fine. Assumptuous.
I think there is the assumption that that's the case. Do you believe that Moyes wanted King and Sullivan wanted Benrahma?
Yeah.
Are you disappointed that looks like we're getting Benrahma?
I'm disappointed that we would be spending that much money on one single player when we have other positions that need filling.
Where?
Oh, hang on. I'll just say my favourite 2 words that I've been saying consistently. Left back. Everyone take a drink if you're doing the Rebecca left back drinking game. Every time she says left back, I will destroy all of you. So left back. I feel like it's a lot of Benrahma is a lot of money, and it is blowing all of the money for this window. And I don't. Do you agree? Do you think he's worth what the alleged amount is that we would be paying for him with his add-ons as well, obviously, which is what's bumping up the price?
Well, I think you only pay the add-ons if everything goes swimmingly. So the conditions will be on him scoring a certain number of goals. You've still got your tea bag in your drink. I noticed the tag.
Yeah, because you've got to let it seep, Gonzo. You've got to let it seep.
You've got some weird. You got some weird tea making procedures going on there. That's all at Baxter Towers. That's all I'm saying.
Judged, Gonzo. I feel like I've come here and you've just judged me on my tea.
Yeah. I asked you up at a video. I just stitched you up for the contents of your cup. All right. Look, you only pay the full amount if everything happens, right? And whatever, West Ham win the World Cup again, and so on and so forth, and he scores a hat-trick. Do I think he's worth it? I think he has the potential to be worth it, and we've got to probably give that some context. But I wanted King, and the only reason I wanted him was because I felt he would fit more into the manager's plans. My issue with it is, and I'm happy to be corrected. In fact, I want to be corrected. I just don't look at him and see a David Moyes player. Somebody did a really good comment on when people are watching this. Would be yesterday's video when I did a video about how vocal our backroom team are and how they're managing to project instructions onto the pitch, and I think that's helping us because there are no crowds there because our backroom team are more vocal than others. Said I only noticed that because I just recent selections I've not selected the right one. I get the buttons wrong. I don't know which channel is the one with the crowd noise, the fake crowd noise. Anyway, so I got the wrong one. Somebody said in the comments, said you should have heard him. He's watched all the games with the crowd noise off. You should have heard him when Felipe Anderson was playing. He said Moyes was screaming at him. And obviously I didn't know that because I was a late arrival onto that. So I just wonder if he's poor old Benrahma. Maybe, I don't know. So people say he doesn't track back. I don't know. What do you think?
So it's funny you bring up Anderson because that's the next thing I was going to kind of talk about is, do you think Benrahma could be another Anderson where it's someone who is extremely skilled but just doesn't, as you said, doesn't fit in? And what I see, that's my worry. It will come in and it will be another a repeat of that where he just won't get started and it will roll on like that. And then we brought a player, it's quite a lot of money, who we won't really be starting. And then you've just brought someone to sit on the bench. And that, because he is extremely skilled, you can't deny that. He plays really attractive football. Is that necessarily what David Moyes wants? I'm going to say no, based on the fact we've just loaned out Anderson, who does play skilled football.
Well, I think Benrahma, from what I've seen, is I think he looks twice as skillful as Anderson. I've got to say, okay. Yeah, I do. I think Anderson. I think Anderson's got a couple of tricks. Yeah. One of them is knocking it past the player and running around him and trying basically creating a race, trying to get to the ball quicker. The other one is the nutmeg, right? This fella can do a nutmeg standing on his head. I mean, he does reverse nutmegs. Anderson's got one nutmeg. This geezer's got 5 nutmegs, right? He does pirouettes. He does flicks. He does he flick it over the back of his head and all sorts of stuff. So actually, I think this is the guy you want in your 5-a-side team. But we're not playing 5-a-side football at the moment. And you talk about the substitutions. My biggest, it's funny. It's a funny one actually. Actually, let me say what I was going to say first. My biggest problem is that Moyes doesn't make substitutions, right? Yeah. So. But do we have a player on the bench that Moyes is desperate to bring on? And just think of one. Who does he really want to bring on all the time? Or always no one. Does he want to bring on Sebastian Haller? I mean, sort of get the impression he'd rather not.
Yeah, I would. If I would have had to quickly answer off the top of my head, I would have said Haller, but only Haller after the 80th minute. Like he only looks him then and thinks you're a prospect after that amount of time. But there is no one on the bench that I think he turns around and goes, I need to get you on the pitch. I mean, I don't know if he even thinks that thought ever anyway. But
well, I mean, so if you're looking at, say like Gareth Southgate of England, if he's perhaps started with Raheem Sterling on the left, and it's, it's getting to half time and it's whatever, 0-0, 1-0, you can imagine him thinking, I wouldn't mind getting Marcus Rashford on. You could probably imagine a scenario where he wants to, okay, Raheem, off you go. Is Marcus, and you could say that for a number of different players. I just don't get that impression with anyone on the bench. So if he got him, would he be desperate to bring him off the bench? Now, I certainly felt that would have been the case with King. So let's say Antonio was going to retire at some point during the match, which isn't really happening, and that is credit to Moyes. Antonio hasn't looked fit for 3 seasons. He doesn't look knackered. Look, he's not taking him off because Antonio doesn't really look knackered. Last couple of games, after 75 minutes, Antonio don't look tired. But I could see Moyes thinking, actually, I wouldn't mind bringing King on here. I could see that happening. It's just how desperate would he be to bring on Benrahma?
But that's the thing, and especially if the sort of rumours are true that he wanted Josh King over Benrahma, could it be that he won't really want to bring Benrahma on because maybe he didn't really want him in the first place, so he's not going to have the incentive there to look at the bench and go, I want to see you play. And that could be another problem if that is true and he didn't want him and he gets him regardless.
Well, to prove a point, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, that's purely my speculation, but I feel like if you have a player that you don't really want, they're not going to be in the forefront of your mind to get on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, this is all very conspiratorial. As I say, I've had my part to play, and I've gone along with that belief. Certainly, I do like to think that neither Sullivan is not stupid enough, Everyone's laughing at that bit. That Sullivan is not stupid enough. I should have, if I type edit it, I'd put some canned laughter in there. To spend 30 million, whatever, 20 million, whatever it might be, on a player that the manager doesn't want. I can't believe that Moyes is so detached from any negotiations that he won't have had his opinion heard. I do think when it's all said and done, often our frustrations with West Ham, particularly the ownership, and sometimes the management, can cloud the way we see things. It is entirely possible that Sullivan has said to him, look, this guy's available. He's with an agent that I know. This guy's available.
A little tiny bit, a lot to do with it.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, the accusation is a backhander. How much does someone that earns that was worth £1 billion need a backhander? I don't know. But I just wondered if there has been a conversation. David Moyes actually said, "Yep, okay, this guy will work for me." But it doesn't. I'm struggling. The closest I can come to is Pienaar, who played for Moyes at Everton. But then again, I look at Moyes, and Moyes spent 30 million on Juan Mata at Man United, and Juan Mata is not a defensive player. He's not fast. He is known. All right, I'm not saying he's lazy, and he'll do his bit of defending, and he'll track back a bit, and so on and so forth. But Mata's main attributes are passing and skill. So he does have some form. I don't know. Maybe we're doing Moyes a disservice. Maybe Moyes wants to build a team with a bit more attacking flair.
He could. I just wonder, and I know I've said this before as well, how much sway Moyes actually has when it comes down to it. So you said, would he have his opinion heard? I suspect he would give it a good go. But I think Moyes has his hands tied at West Ham behind his back to some extent, because he can't really kick off too much, because it's not as if he could just walk into another Premier League team. He couldn't just go, right, I don't want anything to do with this now, I'm off. Because he's just got back into the Premiership. He wants to stay. So I always wonder how much oomph he puts into his debates and opinions with Sullivan and with the board. Or if the board have much more of a sway over Moyes. Now, I could be doing him a complete disservice there, and he could be in there on the phone every day talking about players that he wants. The only thing that makes me think it isn't is because we don't really sign anyone. So, it's not as if we're inundated with rumours of who we've bid for, but we're not inundated with actual signings. So it does make me wonder how much Moyes can actually do, how far he can take his opinions.
Yeah. Look, I mean, in fact, I've got a slightly different opinion on that. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But before I do, I just want to let everybody know about Canning Town Len's upcoming project, which is going to be on Amazon Prime and on Canning Town Len's website. It's good. It's called This Football Sketch Show, and quite frankly, it's going to be absolutely magnificent. I don't mean to blow smoke up Len's what's-it. Well, he's a cartoon anyway. I'm not sure that you could actually do that.
No, I don't think it'd work.
It would be a good animation, actually. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to play the trailer in just a second, and I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm really looking forward to this. Completely honoured to be associated with it and have a little small part in it, which hopefully when it comes out, you have a look, see if you can spot a couple of people you might know. But anyway, give it a watch. Keep an eye on Canning Town Len. I'll put the link to his website down below. Follow him on Twitter. When it comes out, it'll be on Amazon Prime, and I think you're going to love it.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
Oh, hello, it's Clinton, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Frank.
I don't mind a bit of banter, of course.
Stop acting such a...
Clinton Baptiste here, clairvoyant, medium, psychic, paranormalist.
Is certain to cause a furore.
I'm a big manager, of course, but I am humble.
Maradona, the genius.
What about Terry Fenwick?
They're a disgrace to West Ham owner. Himself.
Wentworth. Tevez was left field. The lads, he instantly bonded with everybody because he was just a bit weird.
Namaste.
You can't please people like that, Al.
I thought that school would teach you a little bit of backbone, but it's turned you into a grade A punce.
I wanted to come back on was just something that you mentioned earlier about, I think you almost alluded to the fact that David Moyes' stock was low. Almost, he may have had to be sort of cap in hand, a bit apologetic, a bit let's say grateful for what he's got with Sullivan. I'm looking at it a little bit differently. I look at it as if he saved us once from relegation, and people might have looked at it and thought, well, technically he didn't save them. I'm talking about other club chairmen. They probably would have stayed up anyway. Okay, fine. And then comes back again and steers us clear of relegation. Both times, he doesn't take it to the last day. We're safe before. Now, all of a sudden after that, particularly off the back of our lockdown form, I think other chairmen might be looking at it and thinking, hold on. So whereas before, the first port of call, if you were in trouble, might have been Sam Allardyce, for instance, I think other chairmen might be looking at David Moyes thinking, hold on, mate, maybe you're not finished. Maybe there's a good manager here. And then you look at the more recent results and you look at how we've played, which is, I know, look, there's not a huge example, and I'm aware that it could bite me on the arse for about to play Tottenham. We could lose 6-0. But at the moment, we look like almost the only team in the Premier League that can defend. And I just wonder, actually, if it carries on, if we get to the halfway stage in the season, and actually West Ham are 10th or something like that, I would suggest that it ain't Sullivan wearing the trousers anymore. It's actually David Moyes who's wearing Sullivan. I think not wearing Sullivan's trousers. They'd be like shorts, like on David Moyes, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Pants. Let's be honest.
Speedos. Yeah. So there's David Moyes in Sullivan's Speedos. But you know what I mean? I just think the power's shifted.
I think that, I agree, and all credit to Moyes, like literally all credit to Moyes. And I know I've been told off in my videos for being a bit of a Moyes basher when it's not necessary, but all credit to him. In especially our last two, we have been, obviously the way we played Leicester was outstanding. And I was very wrong in my prediction because the last video I did with you, I was very wrong, and I was happy to be extremely incorrect about that because we played fantastically, and all credit to him.
And he's a very good greengrocer.
He's carrots for days. He's got carrots for days, that bad. But I do want to also give credit to his backroom staff, because obviously Moyes for the last two has been surrounded by his carrots at home. So,
I wonder what he's been doing.
I don't even want to think about it, but he's been at home. And so I think he has what helps him is his support. And I think his Nolan, especially Irvine, who's the one who's been on the sideline, has been... whatever he's doing is working, and it's not just Moyes, and he obviously has a solid team behind him in his own staff, which is good, and I would love to see that carry on. As you said, Spurs is coming up, so it might not, but if we get to Christmas, the thing is, last season we also got to Christmas and we were quite high up in the table, and then after Christmas we dropped suddenly. So I don't know if this would be a repeat of last season. I'd hope it wouldn't be, but all credit to him. I'm just not convinced solely on Moyes just yet, is my opinion. I don't quite agree with your other chairman would be out there thinking he's a good relegation saver.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I think time will tell. As I say, if you got to Christmas and we were in mid-table, I think people might be looking at it very differently. Having said that, Christmas is cancelled anyway, isn't it, this year? With actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's children watch. No. Don't you worry, Father Christmas. Put your stockings out, mince pies, carrots, if there's any left after David Moyes has finished with them.
Well, everyone's going to have carrots for Christmas.
Carrot for Rudolph. Yeah, you'll be eating carrot pie. Christmas is not cancelled, children, at all. Actually, I'm just wondering with those David Moyes eating all those carrots. I said there was a benefit to no crowd being there because we had a vocal back room team and they could shout their instructions onto the pitch. What do you think that in night games, that actually, because he's been eating all those carrots, David Moyes is going to be able to see the tactics just better than anybody else in the dark, wouldn't he?
Do you think that'll make him make subs? Do you think it's lit up in orange eyes?
Yeah. Even the floodlights will go out. It'll say, "Come on, fellas! Crikey, I can see everything." All the players will be running into each other and smacking into each other. He's thinking, "What's going on here? I've had 20,000 carrots since lockdown. I can see like a bat." Oh, actually, bats are blind, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, don't worry.
Yeah, like me. I just want to see a glowing Moyes on the sideline, just a nice orange.
Ready break.
Yeah, the man would be just standing there glowing.
Yeah, I like it. Listen, before we depart, it's been 20 odd minutes. I feel like we've not discussed an awful lot. I'm going to be doing my Tottenham preview with Gio. You were going to be doing a review of Tottenham, which we're all looking forward to. But why don't you give us how are you feeling about the team? How are you feeling ahead of Tottenham? Given a break, what do you fancy for that match?
I'm actually quite confident, and that confidence has come from our last two. And obviously, Deck has had a lovely international break with England, obviously, as we've all seen. So I'm hoping that we continue to. I hope he keeps the formation the same. That's my wish for Spurs, is that he keeps that and we defend as well as we have been, because that will help us immensely. Listen, I'm going 2-1 West Ham.
Are you keeping the same team?
Yeah.
Not bringing Craig Dawson in?
No, you're okay, thank you.
Okay.
How you?
A bit abrupt.
Do you know what? Right, we haven't even touched on Craig Dawson.
We can touch Craig Dawson if you want.
I don't want to. I don't really want to see him. Don't touch him. But all right, okay. What do you think of Craig Dawson?
I just feel sorry for Craig Dawson a little bit. I got to say, he's just a player signing for a football club. He's the club he plays for have been relegated, right? They probably can't afford his wages. We can. I just hope Craig Dawson isn't on social media or watches any videos or anything, because he's probably quite excited.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, oh, actually, I don't know anything about Craig Dawson, right? I don't know if we're going to find out his family are season ticket holders at West Ham, or as sometimes happens. You know what I mean? He's now used to serve up pie and mash at Nathan's. But I'd imagine he's quite excited to be joining West Ham. I'd imagine the kit unveiling and all that stuff is quite exciting for a player. And I don't want for him to feel that the fans are sort of deflated about him coming. I want him to. I don't think he's going to be a world beater. I don't think he's going to be in the team. He's there as defensive cover. But it sort of reminds me a little bit of the Roger Johnson one. And a lot of players become synonymous with certain things. And Roger Johnson, unfortunately, became synonymous with under Sam Allardyce, and we were absolutely horrendous. Okay, at that point, we went on one of our worst runs in 100 years under Allardyce. Allardyce used to say, Allardyce meant to be a defensive manager. Crikey, honestly, we were like a sieve. We were like a colander at the back, right? And what happened was, I think one of Johnson's first games was a cup game against Nottingham Forest. Sam Allardyce played a formation that he'd never played before and played 5 or 6 youngsters and gave them their debuts. Poor old Roger Johnson's there. And I think he might have been played against Man City as well. We had Man City in the cup. And I think we had an important league game coming up. And basically, Sam said, I don't care about the cups. I'm just throwing it. Again, he put loads of players in. And poor old Roger Johnson, right? So, anyway, everyone was Roger Johnson, the relegator, and all the rest of it. And again, I just thought, well, unfortunately, it doesn't tell the full story of what's been going on at the club. And I think with this as well, I just don't want people to see Dawson as a basically to beat Craig Dawson with the Sullivan stick.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault. It's just a very West Ham signing, and I think that's why a lot of fans are frustrated. It's just it's a loan, which is better than just buying him outright. But it's a very West Ham signing. He's a 30-year-old. It's not very exciting. I think, again, if we'd done more in this window, fans may have been a little bit nicer. But you support the player. He wears the shirt. He will. Well, I say he'll play for us. He won't really. But he's there. He'll be on the bench. It's just a very West Ham signing. So no, but I wouldn't be putting him in the team for some.
No, neither would I. Neither would I. As a spoiler for the build-up, but yeah, for the preview, I'll keep the same thing.
Actually, I won't spoil your other build-ups. I was going to ask about Benrahma. If we did sign him, would you put him in on Sunday?
All I will say is, I'm going to say the same thing about Dawson. Is what I think about Benrahma. The moment it looks like we're going to sign Benrahma, and it does, by the way, I think we're signing him. I'm going to get. It's so easy to say I'll get behind the team. I don't mean that. You can't get behind the team unless you're there, right? That's the truth of the matter. We're just a bunch of people talking about stuff, right? But I will allow myself to get excited about it. I will. I'm not going to let this whole conspiracy of Sullivan and Moyes Which, as I say, I feed into that. I'm aware of my place in the scheme of things. Bear in mind, I talk about it every day, but I'm not going to let that sour my excitement of what looks to be a very, very skillful player. If it is decided, then look, I wouldn't expect him to start against Tottenham. Let's be fair. Moyes clearly really likes Jared Bowen. Moyes was reluctant to play Bowen when he came in.
Yeah,
Don't expect too much. Don't expect this lad from the Championship to save us, which is ironic because he gets on saying, "I think we need Championship players." I think it'd be exciting. If I thought that actually Moyes wanted him, and actually Moyes is going to play him, I'd be really excited about this. How that plays in with El Fornicador and
that's the. I wouldn't be removing Fornals at all at the moment. I would. So a lot of people are putting Benrahma in where Fornals is playing, and I'm not. I wouldn't be doing that. I think that would be a bad choice currently.
Yeah, well, look, as I say, I'd keep the team the same, but I do think it gives us options, and I do think he's a remarkably talented player. I really is as good skills wise as good as you'll see probably. You know, that's how skillful he is. There's probably not an awful lot he can't do with a football. But he's a master of the in a way that same way that Moyes is a master of the carrot.
Yeah, and do you know what? There's nothing more exciting than that.
They're very, very rarely. Right, okay. I'm going to wrap this up now because we've done a fair old stint. Thank you for joining me. Don't be silly. We will look forward to seeing you straight away after the game against Tottenham. You'll be reporting on our 2-1 win.
I will be reporting on our 2-1 win. I'm quite excited on our 2-1 win.
Quite right too. You'll have to wait and see what I predict. We've got a transfer, the second closing in a transfer window this month, which it's always good, but a transfer window to close twice in a month, I find. So that's going to be really good. We've got that coming up. We've got the preview, myself and Gio, the preview. We've got quite an exciting announcement coming up with regard to patrons and some podcasts and some bits and pieces. Maybe I've said too much. I don't know. Thank you very much to the Beckster. Thank you to Len. Don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for that coming out. That's really, really exciting stuff. I will catch up with you tomorrow.